Lauren, welcome.
Can you guys hear me?
We sure can. Good mic
Yeah,
test.
I love it. Sherry,
Awesome.
the first ever Twitter,
Oh, you write this down because I am your favorite coach ever. Oh, wait, I have to compete with Patty Gasso on that one, huh?
uh,
Uh,
yeah, fortunately you
yeah,
do.
I know.
I'm like, wait, this is talk space, right? I know that sounds so funny. I legitimately used to be just up and with it on every single social media platform. And now I'm like, oh, wait, is this just what happens?
Yeah, I had to
This
figure it out.
happens.
So here's some story while we wait for everybody to get on. And I don't know if you're in a place that's echoey, but you're awful echoey.
Okay, let me
Yeah,
see if I can move to a spot.
yeah. Got a lot of extra
I'm in my
space in your big luxurious house.
The office has a high ceiling, so that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
Give me a second.
no problem. And welcome everybody while we're logging in. Lauren's just getting settled. And Dr. Jackie posted up there her platform that we're going to talk about tonight in a little video. But we have this recorded, Lauren. It's called a Twitter space, but I don't know what they're calling it. X space now. I mean, all these changes. And I am going to go ahead and get us started and let people join in as they do because most people have heard of our introductions. But I am Sherry Naudine. I'm the owner of Collegiate Sports Advocate. We are the number one softball recruiting company for results in the country. We get it done, and we've been doing it almost 10 years. And you can find me here on my page. You can click on my new headshot. Got the new grandma hair going. I have a grandbaby. So I'm embracing it. And then my super famous co-host, Jackie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh man, I don't know. On the call today, I think Lauren has me beat. But I'm Jackie Wins. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a former sport D2 athlete. Not in softball, but I got my way into the softball fandom, actually low key, from Lauren, Patty Gasso, and the overall fandom of Oklahoma, being an Oklahoma Sooner football fan growing up, and then actually seeing Lauren and Patty at a camp when I was down there one time. So, Lauren, I can't believe you're on the call. I love it. Um,
That's
of
awesome.
course. And from there, I just sort of invested into women's sports and, you know, led into softball. So I'm here to help Sherry with the space, add how I can, and listen to see what Lauren has to say tonight.
Fabulous. And Lauren, I am going to get the honor and the pleasure. I can't believe this. I'm going to add my own little intro here. 2 decades of Lauren Chamberlain in the softball world is amazing. I can't believe you're that old or I'm that old, but
You
we'll let
know,
them tell you how we met in a minute. But I'm going to formally introduce Lauren Chamberlain, who grew up in Orange County, California, and began her playing softball at age 8. She has competed at every level, starting with rec ball, all stars. I'm inserting that there, becoming a
yes. Not
national
forget,
champion.
cannot forget the All Stars.
Exactly, our TGSA. Becoming a national champion at the University of Oklahoma and playing for Team USA and USSSA Pride. While an athlete, she took a strong interest in business, allowing her to find major success off the field. She owns her umbrella company called Lauren Chamberlain LLC that oversees her ventures. She is also founder of an all-encompassing sports management agency, LC Management. She was also the first commissioner of WPF, Women's Professional Fast Pitch, the official professional softball league here in the United States. And her ultimate goal has always been to create better situations for women and continues to put herself in positions to be of service to others and create true change. And Lauren, I am so excited to have you on here tonight. I can't wait to hear what you are telling us and sharing with us about what you're up to next. So come on out.
Yes, I'm so happy. Thanks for having me, Sherry and Jackie. I'm pumped that you're co-hosting. I feel like I've seen you all over Twitter, so I'm really excited that we could talk tonight. But no, just I again, this is my first like little space thing on X. I've never done one of these. I've always wanted to. I've always listened, but I've never done one of these. So really happy that Sherry, we could be the first, and you guys could CSA and everything you've got going on could be the first. So really happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, we met with a funny story. So go ahead and tell your version, then I'll tell my version. How did Lauren and Sherry meet?
Oh my gosh. Well, are you talking about rec day,
Oh,
opening
yeah,
day?
girl. Yeah, we're
Okay.
going way
So
back.
okay, so rec ball, and this I had played soccer. So for those of you that didn't know, I'd played soccer before. So no t-ball for me, no like starting out, way early in softball. So I was 8 years old. Our TGSA, was it opening day Sherry tryouts?
Yes, it was opening
Okay.
day. 800 girls for Rancho Trabuco girls softball in Orange
Yeah.
County.
Yes, lots of girls, and my parents were like, "Let's see if she likes this, let's just throw her in softball and see how she does." And first person that I ever played catch with was Shannon, and that's Sherry's daughter. So we got acquainted literally my first ever impression of softball. The Nadines were a part of it, so I just think that's such a cool thing that we share that
I
memory.
love it, and I will add to the side of the story because, of course, I was the president because I'm always the president of everything. And I had a beeper, if that doesn't tell you how old it was, and my beeper kept going off. And I finally had somebody call, and this man and woman were asking me to go play co-ed when it was all done. And so I did show up to play co-ed, and it was Lauren's parents that were on the team. So it was like I had a double dose of Chamberlains in one day. But I was watching my daughter at 8 playing catch with this girl, and I'm like, they're the only two girls in this age group functionally playing catch together. So I said, Shannon, who's your new friend? And Lauren comes over with her big, robust smile, and Shannon says, her name is Warren. Because Shannon had a little lisp. And I said, Shannon, nobody names their kid Warren. What's her name? And you stepped in and said, I'm Lauren. And she ended up making all stars. These girls played together, I think, till you were 15 years old.
Oh
Won
yeah,
at
we
least
played
one
together for a
national,
while.
yeah, at least one national title together. And it was just
Oh, we sure
history.
did. 10 and international champs, guys. So
And
I got
yeah,
that national championship experience when I was 10, and then it never
exactly.
left.
Exactly. So, Lauren, tell us what you're up to today.
Oh my goodness. Well, I've had some changes here recently. So I was the commissioner of WPF, and I've stepped down from that, and I'm now, back. I mean, I guess I never left my advocating role in the softball world. I've always been an advocate. But now I'm back pretty much full time again with LC Management Group. It's our all encompassing brand management agency, everything NIL, pretty much the works when it comes to representing current softball players both collegiately and professionally. So do that with my co-women. They're incredible. My co-founders and owners, Chelsea Day and Ginger Sloan. So we're headquartered in Oklahoma City, but making waves throughout the U.S. So very excited to be back in kind of the, really like hands-on with the athletes and that one-on-one time with the athletes and making sure they're set up and good to go. So very happy there.
Well, and we just recently, I mean, we've always stayed in touch, but just recently a unique thing happened. When you know in life that you meet people for certain reasons, it's pretty amazing. And I had a lady call me and say, I've got two young ladies that play softball, and I see you all over, and I just need to know when should we get started in recruiting. We just started chatting, and then I had said something about I had the privilege of coaching some very famous people, in California. She says, well, you'll never believe who we live next door to. And she lives next door to Lauren Chamberlain. So, Lauren, this is also a funny story if you want to tell this one, how cute it
Oh
was.
gosh, this was the best. So I was looking at buying a new home, and my fiance TJ and I were checking out this one house in Edmond, and we were doing we were pretty far along the process, and we were looking kind of doing the inspections of the house in the backyard. And as we went outside to step out, into the backyard and look at the pavement, they were kind of adding some extra concrete, and a softball is just like in the yard, like it kind of came rolling over, and I was like, wait a minute, like, is that my softball? Did I like accidentally bring a softball? Like, how did that get here? And then I see a head pop over the fence, like, sorry, can I get that? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I'm just throwing to my dad. And I thought that was just the cutest thing. Like, I don't know, that kind of solidified.
Softballs raining from the skies,
No,
right?
literally, it was so sweet. And that was like the most endearing thing because it just took me back to when I would do that with my dad. And the fact that they were next door, I was like, yeah, I think this is a good place for us, you know?
That's
So
awesome.
it was
Well,
so,
and your next door neighbor was the one that told me that you've got this new program. So tell us all about this new program you've got
oh,
coming. Give us dates and everything. We did pin it up on the page though for all of you listeners there. You can go
yeah.
actually look at it.
Absolutely. So I love the camps, clinics, instructional softball, and everything. I mean, I've done hitting clinics for years. But one thing I'm really, really passionate about is the off the field, the confidence building, the skills building, pretty much everything you need to be successful off of the field, which again, in turn, helps you be successful on it. So this is actually my second event of this. It's called Legends in the Making event. And the first one was in Oklahoma City, and we're back again in Oklahoma City this year. But it's pretty much just a night of empowerment and inspiration. And we've got some really special guests. Katie Cheadle is a sports psychologist, and she's performance coach based. Mental performance coach based in California, Southern California, and she's actually flying out for the event. So she'll be there to give her secret tips and tricks to mentally being a fortress and really opening up to who you are designed to be as a player and as a person. So I'm really excited about that. I've also got which Sherry, you'll love this, I kind of never before, I've never had my dad involved in any of these camps or clinics, even empowerment events, and I'm having him do a bit of a question and answer just as my coach. I mean, he was in on that whole process with me, and it's been fun to see him kind of unpack some of this stuff as we're prepping for it. So it's a 1 day event, but there is an add-on for a VIP event, which is just dinner, kind of a little bit more one-on-one time. It's a group of 5 of us that would go, and that's September 30th. So the night before would be that VIP event, but the actual Legends in the Making event happens October 1st in Oklahoma City. So we're gearing up for that.
And what type of age group are you targeting? Who should attend something like this?
I think any ranging from middle school to high school and also, college. I mean, the messages are the same. I think it's all about, who are you designed to be? Who did God design you to be? Who are you? What magic do you bring? And then how can we unlock that and show that to the world so that you can make an impact? So I would say anywhere from middle school to probably early college. And, we'll always get those women that are coming back like, I just want to hang out and, let's just get the vibes flowing. So I think it's pretty much for everybody, but I'd start at probably middle school and up.
Excellent. And give us a little teaser. What's one of the most important things that you're going to share at this event that you can build on so that the audience will show up and you can continue to build on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think your outer world, and this is something that I've mentioned my fiance TJ a couple times. He's the owner of Foundations, a health and fitness brand, and he's just his mind work and everything that he's accomplished in his life, just mentally, and hurdles that he's had to overcome are insane. So a lot of this stuff I pull from him, but your outer world is very much a reflection of your inner world, and what you create on the inside and what you envision and what you manifest on the inside. If you speak like you're already there, it will start to show in your life. And I think it's a lifelong process, but something that I think if you're an athlete and you're a young athlete and you can start doing that, instead of saying, man, one day I'll be this, big power hitter, saying I am a big power hitter, and just starting to create that reality inside of your head and then see where it goes from there and what happens. So a lot of the, we can unlock, our hips, and we can unlock our lower half, and we can, all of these um, little things that you can do with your swing physically. But I just feel like there's so much you can do mentally, that if you haven't tapped into it yet, it doesn't matter how good your swing is.
Now, was there a time that you were playing where you really had that aha moment that it was more mental than physical? And what did you say to yourself, or what did you do, or share that moment with us?
Yeah, there several times. I mean, I any athlete that makes it, collegiately and then also continues on to play professionally, there's so many times when you're like, man, this is like a lifelong process. Like no one ever really truly gets it figured out. It's always a work in progress. But I would say a couple times when I first got to college, I was big high school player, really excited to make, waves at OU and make a statement. And when I got there, it was a whole new level of ball, and I had to get adjustments pretty quick. But as soon as I figured out in my head, okay, I'm the best college softball player, then I started acting like it, right? And then that started to become a reality. So that would be the first time. Second time, again, when I made that jump to the professional level, it's just another level up that, you have to reestablish your mindset and what you truly, truly believe about yourself. It's not, you can fake it till you make it, but you really do have to have that strong belief in yourself that you belong. So a couple times in my career. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm going to bring up a story. I hope your dad doesn't get mad because he was the one who called me. You were in high school and you were on the verge of breaking a record in Orange County, maybe even Southern California for home runs. And then they started walking you. What was that magic number for the numbers of walks that they did to you? Because your dad was like, what? And I hate walks. I
Yeah.
absolutely think they're horrible. So go ahead. Intentional walks suck.
I don't even know if I know the number, but that was just my first taste of walks because I ended up, anytime you get around a record, they start walking you. I mean, I know Jocelyn knows that from experience last year, but yeah, that was crazy. That's wild that you remember it. This is fun talking about our high
Oh,
school stuff.
oh
I
yeah,
never
I'm
get to
gonna
talk
go
about
back even farther. I'm gonna put some names out for you because I'm like the historian of softball, right? So at opening day, we had a speaker. Who was our speaker?
Stacey Newsman. I think that's maybe the coolest story that nobody knows.
I know, and I'm going to find the picture, I swear. And Shannon's supposed to be on this call listening. If not, I'm going to ping her and tell her. I think it's in her little photo albums. But
Wow.
visualize this, everybody. Opening day speaker, Stacey Newman, with her gold medals around her neck. And if you don't know who she is, she at that time held the home run record. And she was sitting there, and there's little Lauren and Shannon and my younger one, which was, we call her Shell Bell. And she looks more like Lauren than she does the rest of us. They always thought she was Lauren's sister. But these little teeny people were looking up at this 6'3" Olympian standing right in front of them, like their necks were cocked backwards. They were like in awe. It was the coolest picture ever. And lo and behold, how many years later, Lauren, was it that you
Oh,
broke her record?
I mean, I can't even get the count right, but the fact that she was the speaker at opening day, like my first introduction into softball, like this was my where I got inspired, that I mean, I remember the talk, and just to come full circle and be the one that broke her record is pretty
It,
nuts. That's a
it's just
never
crazy.
That's awesome. That's a great story, and I never tell it, and I that's a kind of those once in a lifetime things that you're just like, what? Like, God was working on the back end.
Absolutely. And we couldn't have planned it. And yet here was his plan, laying it out right. And the other cute part of that story was Shell Bell was 6. And for whatever reason, they had an assignment in class about an American hero. Of course, a Nadine would write about softball, right?
Mhm.
Shell Bell wrote that Stacey Newman was her American hero. And
Yes,
when
as she
and
should be.
Yep, and she brought it home, and I practically cried, and I knew Stacy's mom because I had to send Stacy's mom the check for her speaking engagement. So I put it in the mail, and her mother called and said, "This is better than Olympic gold to
Oh,
know that your daughter could touch somebody in this way." And
yeah.
I mean, those are just some of the coolest memories. So
First, I
e-
have another memory that
excellent.
I would love to bring up. You probably remember it, and I'm gonna throw myself under the bus, but I remember I had to pee so bad during the game. I had to go to the restroom so bad, but I was so nervous to say anything. I was like,
And you were at
no,
shortstop. Let's
because you
tell
were
everybody you
hardcore.
played
You were
shortstop.
hardcore, and
Yes.
coaches, like, when you're younger, you're like, I don't care if I have to pee. I have to show them that I am good. Like, I got to show them I belong here. And I remember I was drawing in the sand to try to, the dirt, to try to keep myself occupied, because I was like, I'm going to pee my pants right now. And I remember you yelling at me to stop drawing. Stop drawing in the dirt. You're like, Lauren, focus, stop drawing things. And I ended up, you had to escort me to the bathroom. I will never forget that.
Yeah, it was a moment where I had to put my jacket around you and
You
spare my jacket for the moment, but it was one of
rescued
those
me.
yep, enduring moments where I could stop being the coach telling you what to do and rescue you from embarrassment with, because every little girl was saying, "Oh my gosh,
Uh,
what's going on? Why is Lauren coming off the field?" And we're like, "Oh, don't worry about Lauren." And I
that's
passed you off to Pam good old Pam, and Pam took care of it from there. But yeah, we have some great memories.
We do.
Was there any mindset situations that you remember in your younger days that carried you through to college?
I would say, oh man, it was such a blur when I was younger. I felt like it was everything, my softball journey was just so fast. Everything happened so quickly. I would say there was a time right around 12, 13 where I took a step back, and you remember this, Sherry. I had to take a step back and really try to figure out if I loved softball, if I loved the schedule of softball, if I wanted to do this in college. I mean, there were so many things that I just never really asked myself. And that would have been probably the most important thing that I did, was honor myself. And thank God my parents, they said, hey, you can't quit in the middle of season. We don't do that, but you can finish after. And um you can take the break that you need. And that break, I think, really allowed that reset for me, and it solidified how much I love softball and that I needed to still be involved. So that carried through the rest of my career, is knowing when to take a break, or when I needed to kind of check in with myself and say, hey, like, is this something you really do want to do? Because we're all human at the end of the day. And I think sometimes when you see really successful athletes and they're at the top of the top, you just think that they're machines and they just go, go, go. And this is what they love most in the world. And, sometimes it's not always like that. Sometimes there's real life things going on. And so that check in is always super important. I'm glad I learned that at a young age.
Yeah, and I remember you coming back, and years later, you and I chatted about it because you said, I was feeling like I was missing out. My friends were going to the beach and doing all these things, and then you said to me, I figured out all my friends were softball players. They weren't at the
Yeah.
beach anyway.
I was like, oh, I want like sleepovers. I want to go to the movies. And then I'm like, okay, I have no one to go to the movies with. They're all on my team. I'm like, we're all in the same boat here. But yeah, it was just important for me, I think, to see that the grass isn't always greener. Sometimes that's how you learn, and you just figure it out. But I do know that once I came back, it really fast tracked my softball career, and put me on a path to really, really go high quickly. So,
Yeah, but Jackie, we see your hand. Let's
All right,
go.
I'm sliding in here. I have a quick question in the aspect of, you went through this prolific career, and now clearly you're killing the game, and doing a lot of big things. What part of softball, or what lesson, any aspect of that you want to go into, was the most impactful to who you are today?
oh wow.
I
Um,
know, I think you're
Great first question,
pretty
Jackie.
deep right there.
I'm like,
We're
bring it on.
making you think, Lauren.
I would say that just showing up and doing things when you're uncomfortable um is a really good way to grow. And I learned that through softball, that now I'm kind of in that fearless mode when I do things in business, when I'm and when I say fearless, it doesn't mean, I want to correct myself. It doesn't mean that I lack fear. Okay. It doesn't mean that I'm not like scared. It doesn't mean I'm not nervous. It doesn't mean any of those things. It's just that I say yes, like we're going for it. And if I feel these things, that's fine. And we're gonna keep going anyway. I tried to do that in softball and just say, just go for it. And whatever happens, happens. I'll deal with that later. And I'm really happy that I do that in my life, because there's so many opportunities that I think I would have passed up, or people normally say no to because it's just a little uncomfortable or out of their comfort zone, and they're not sure if they're going to succeed. And my life's full of things that I didn't know if I could have succeeded at it, but I ended up doing it, and I'm proud of myself for putting myself in that position. So definitely saying yes to more opportunities. I would encourage anybody to do that and just get out of their comfort zone. That's how you truly live.
That's awesome. One of your fans is asking, Evan, he's one of our faves. What was your favorite memory at OU during the legacy of Patty Gasso?
Mm.
Was the 2013 Women's College World Series a great run to honor? Or,
Yeah, I would
okay,
say that's probably one of my favorites. One of my favorite memories of Coach Gasso, and it really is just a testament of like just what she's done, and how far this program has come. But when I ended up saying yes to Oklahoma, and saying and committing, verbally committing, I'd called her and she was watching a movie with her family, so she took a break, and we talked about it, and it was really like a, celebration, like, hey, I'm coming to OU, and she just was like, oh my gosh, and it was this big thing. And now it's like, if I were to make that call, she'd be like, well, duh. Like, of course you're coming to OU. Like, why, you'd be stupid if you went anywhere else. So it's just fun to see, what she had in the works the whole time. And I tell her that all the time. It's like, you can start something and people don't necessarily see it at the beginning, but if you continue to, put your head down and keep working, and stay true to your culture and your values and your morals, then it will eventually come to light. And I think that Coach Gass is a perfect example of that. It didn't happen right away when she first started, but she knew that she was building, and every building block that she laid down just created this foundation for a powerhouse. So cool to see what she's done.
Amazing. I call her the goat of all goats, the female John Wooden. I just go on and on. It's almost a little too much,
She's the
but
best. She's the best. Just the best.
unbelievable. As a human, as a coach, as a leader, as a mentor for all you young ladies. Was there ever a time where you didn't understand what she was trying to get across to you?
Oh, all the time. All the time. I feel like there was, and that just comes with being young. I mean, I was 18. I spent 18 to 21 with her, and there were plenty of, and my ego was pretty big at that time. I'm still deflating that every day. That's a goal of mine, is get rid of my ego. But she was a tough one when it came to, she catered to her players. And when I say that, it meant she would learn, and at the time it didn't feel like catering, but she would learn exactly what made you go. Like, if it was, I need to be a little harder on you because that's going to light a fire under your butt and you need to get somewhere, or I need to, speak to you on the side because you don't like being called out in front of people, you don't respond well. So she learned with me that I respond well by being lit up. Like, that was just always kind of my thing, was if you called me out and challenged me on the field, it would make my blood boil, but I would get it done. That was a very easy way for me to respond. So
Well,
at the time, I just wouldn't understand it. But then now I look back, and I'm like, yeah, that's just how I responded. That's how I was supposed to be coached.
that is amazing because it's something I have another memory of you. You were playing catcher and you had your little bandana on to keep your hair in your helmet. And there was one of her moms just chirping at you, "Meow, meow, 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 meow," and I was telling her because there was an error. It wasn't anybody's error, but there was an error on the field. She's yelling, "Who made the error?" And I looked at this woman. I said, "Stop, please stop." And then you came in at the inning break and you took the helmet off and you said, "I can't take it. I can't take her yelling at me anymore. I just
Mhm.
need a break." And I said, "Okay, you're fine." And I looked at my kid and I said, "Shannon, put the gear on." Shannon and you played shortstop, pitcher, third,
Mhm.
whatever it took, right? And Shannon went in there. She wasn't in there, two batters, and you said, "Put me back in. Shannon's going to take my spot."
I don't remember that, Sherry. That's the last.
Yes. And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Let's wait till this inning's over so we don't have
Yeah.
to call time." And boom, you went back in. And I'm telling you, you tuned out all those people
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah,
Uh,
it really does display, though, like, when you yeah, sometimes I'm like, "Ooh," even if it, to me, it's that level of perfection. I think that the top players, they all have this kind of psychotic level of perfection that we kind of have to hit. And if I wasn't perfect, and I, on top of that, I was called out, oh, it was over. I mean,
yeah,
I would piss, my blood would be boiling, but at the same time, it took me to another level, and I think she figured that out pretty quick.
that's amazing. Is there any regrets in your career? Anything you wish you should have, could have, would have done differently?
I wish I would have taken a little bit better care of my body. I think that and again, there's only so much when you're in college. Like, you're just still trying to figure it out, and you're kind of like blacked out halfway through because it's moving so fast. I mean, anybody that I look back now and I'm like, I don't even know if I would be able to go through another college career because you just don't know until it's all done. But I would say, one thing I'm a bit envious of now with kids these days is just the resources that they have and the information that they have. We just didn't have that type of information when we were younger. We didn't have social media to learn about things. We didn't follow health accounts, and we didn't follow stretching accounts and those types of things. And back then, I wish I would have been a little bit more proactive about my body and just recovery, and doing the right things, because for how many swings I was taking, I mean, again, that level of psycho that you kind of have to have. It's like the amount of swings I was taking, and my downtime, just the torque I was creating on my body, my spine. I think being a little bit more proactive about my core and recovery would have helped me play longer. That would be my one regret. I don't have many, but that would be one.
No, and that's important, and it's one you obviously are sharing with the next generation. I just want to remind everybody that's listening, especially if you're first-time listeners, don't forget to like my post there. I'm Collegiate Sports Advocate. I'm Sherry, and our super co-host, Dr. Jackie. And then if you're not friends with Lauren, obviously hit her up, and then check out up there on our space. Jackie has posted her video and then her program that's coming up. And then Lauren, tell us about that night when you broke the record.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. So we were in North Texas and man, leading up to that, it was just like, oh, I gotta get this done. I felt like I just had to get this done. It was just one of those things I'm like, let's just get this over with so we can keep moving. Because you gotta understand when you're breaking a record and it becomes like a national headline, they start sending out all types of camera crews, everybody's jacking up the ticket prices. It's just a big deal. And when it has that type of pressure around it, it starts to feel like, okay, this is too much because there's, my teammates have to deal with it, bless their heart. But you remember Leah Wodak, Sherry?
Oh yeah, I
Leah,
still deal with her. She's a coach over at ULM. She's
there you
one of
go.
my little blondie from Rancho Trabuco.
Okay, so Leah Wodak, you guys, she's awesome. And at the time she was a freshman, I believe. She was younger. She would have been a freshman, I think, when I was a senior. Could be. And poor Leah, they had her strap a GoPro to her helmet, and this was so she could get the plate celebration when I broke this record. Now, of course, they're walking me just about every at bat. I'm getting walked. Like no one wanted to be the one that threw to me. So she had this GoPro strapped to her helmet every single weekend as we were leading up to this. So I'm starting to feel that like, man, I just got to get this done so that we can move on and get my teammates off of this and we could just focus on postseason. But the night I broke it, I actually I had struck out looking on 3 pitches right down the middle of the at bat before, and just didn't realize they were going to pitch to me. And the first base coach at North Texas actually pulled me aside. I was playing first base, and I was frustrated after I came back in. I mean, I struck out on 3 looking, and everybody was there to see me hit the big one. So I was pretty ticked off. And she came over to me and she was like, "Well, we're gonna pitch to you, so just get ready to go." And I was like, "Oh, touche. Okay, so this could happen tonight." And sure enough, next at bat, grand slam, and broke the record. So it was a really fun experience. I would say it was a big relief and a big deep breath. Um,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I remember that. It was a huge celebration, but definitely one that I was happy that was done.
And a lot of pressure. I remember seeing you at KU. I was up there and your mom texted me and said, "Will you play Mama Sherry in case she hits it? I can't believe I can't be there." And,
Oh,
you
I
know,
know. I know.
it,
You remember that Kansas weekend. I got walked just
oh,
about
yeah.
every time I was at the plate.
Are you
Every time.
kidding? That was one of the first times Kansas ever beat OU.
And
We remember it
that
well.
was sick. That was sick.
It was crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was a
crazy.
great
But
experience.
Schultze, I loved Schultze. She was one of my favorite players to watch being an ex-catcher myself. So you had
Yeah.
quite the team. And then, look at the girls you played with along the way. Even our little 9 and under travel team had
Oh,
Kylie Lawners, Emmy Kerner, Hallie Wilson, Allison that pitched at San Jose State. I mean, and then I think we grew and added Katie Medina and
yes.
Aubrey
There were
Monroe.
so
I mean,
many. I
it
mean, if you
was
look at the World Series,
crazy.
yeah, if you just take a look at the World Series over the past decade, I would say you're going to find a lot of players that played together when they were 8 in
Yeah.
California. Yeah.
Well, and it still happens. We see it at this level. You try to layer them up to the right teams playing at the right events so that, you're playing against the right layer. That's really how recruiting's working. It's
Right.
not like you girls did. You girls just showed up. I don't think Shannon wrote an email. It was just like,
Yeah, it's
hey,
so different now. What do you
yeah,
think?
it's,
I guess I have a question for you, Sherry. What do you think is the biggest? You've seen it from when we were young to now dealing with today's young ones, coming up in the world and especially the softball world. How would you what are some pros and cons? I mean, I know it's a lot more complex now, but what would you
yeah.
pick? What would you pick back then or now?
Back then was easy, but not as many girls played. So we sacrificed to have this many more girls playing and loving the sport. Like when
Mhm.
we moved to North Texas in '07, there was 5 teams that were the caliber of you girls that were even trying to play outside of their community. And now I go to a 14 and under tournament this weekend. There'll probably be 160 just in our metro. So it's the depth of talent is really there. But the thing that bothers me the most, and yet I'm in the middle of it trying to help families navigate it, is the money spend. You know, you got to have a combine at every camp, and I do TikToks, and I said, "Oh my God, I got the fastest kid in my portfolio," but she has to go to every combine
Right.
and have her parents pay more money just so they can see this girl run. We know she's fast. So
Mhm.
the big money grab was really the antithesis of me starting my company
Yeah.
9 years ago. I was tired of seeing people not help people get through and navigate the money spend. I had a parent, this is true, because we're right in the middle of the September crazy.
Mhm.
And for the audience, I will tell them who's committed this last week at the end if we have time. But I had a dad send me this text of where they were going to go this summer on the camps. I'm telling you, right there, they spent my fee that I stay with them till they graduate college. Like literally, is going to spend my fee that summer, and I was like, wow. The
Mhm.
the camp thing is recruiting when you're in ninth, 10th, and 11th and 12th. But
Mhm.
you know, and I get it. My daughter was a grad assistant. They had to make money too. But I
Mhm.
think they are underpaid, the coaches,
Mhm.
and undersupported by the athletic departments.
Mhm.
Still, the divide between the women and the men's facilities is just an eyeball. And
Yeah.
I'm not a big women's liber, but I'm appreciative of how much the sport has changed. We never dreamed of playing in college, your mom and my,
Yeah.
age group. So to see you girls do that, we used to think Concordia was the greatest college in the world,
Right. Yeah.
and now look at it. So it's really changed recruiting too. It's the higher level kids are having a bigger struggle. They have to be polished at everything. We're teaching them how to do Zoom calls. We're teaching them how to answer the phone. We're
Different.
teaching them. I mean, it's insane. It's like corporate America training.
Yeah.
Jackie, I see Jackie's
I
hand.
was you took the words right out of my mouth, Sherry. I said I really do think the top 10% really have it harder, but also have the ability to make more mistakes because they have like we had the sort of the start of social media, right? Like they have it full blown where their life is in it. So if they make a mistake while in high school, middle school, I mean, it continuously haunts them. I mean, even like Sherry and I talk on spaces all the time, block out your addresses, do X, Y, and Z, make sure you keep yourself safe, even on that perspective. And still, sometimes it doesn't stick. And so it can be hard in so many ways.
The
Right.
worst one I would say, Jackie, to add there is the content barfing on social media. Because I'm not a clinician. I've been a clinician in 10 years, and just the swings and the stuff they put out there. And it was, I think, one of the SEC coaches, I don't want to call her out on it. She goes, I can't unsee it. Stop putting it up there. It's not good enough.
Yeah. It's different, and I do want to shout out, the young ones that are going through this because it's like I just can't. I look back and I'm like I can't even imagine if we had Instagram when I was in
Oh, could you
school.
imagine?
Well, there's so much pressure with that
Yeah.
anyway, being a girl, and to see, what they have to deal with now of just the pressures of this one's committed, this one's going
Hmm.
has money to do this. So I do think it's important when, groups and really prominent groups in the softball space do make the sport accessible. It's always
Hmm.
important to have the sport accessible because we want as many girls playing this as possible.
I did another TikTok when one of your fellow USSSA Pride girls was up there. Oh, everybody, there's a place for everybody. I'm like, do the math. And Amanda Scarborough retweeted my numbers. It really there's 8,000 places for these kids to play, but there's 475,000 registered high school softball players. There's
Mhm.
not a place for everybody. And I think the NCAA and some of the people that are trying to make money give a sensationalized approach, like, oh, you're not happy? Go in the portal. Could you
Mm,
imagine? There was movement in your generation too. Now there's movement on the bottom half of every roster every year. Jackie, her
no.
her space hosts a lot of that movement, and it's upsetting because I think I told a client tonight that's going through a really really tough thing right before signing day. Things happen. I don't know how these parents are doing it themselves, but they called me and they're in a panic.
Mhm.
And it is what it is. And there was another famous one that went from Stanford to OU, not OU, Oregon, and we all
Mhm.
know her, but I don't want to put her business out there. But she lost her scholarship overnight because of a grade point drop, and it was because she had an illness. And I mean, it was just the craziest things. And it's a business, and these parents think that they can maneuver and manipulate their kid
I
through the
it
business.
And that's what I would say is just there are good things about the portal at the same time, and I think that those get overshadowed by some of the other stuff that we see, Sherry, and just parents making decisions on behalf of their kids and all that stuff. But I've seen such success stories of players that have
Oh yeah, but
utilized the
remember
portal.
in your day too, there was movement, but it just wasn't
It
sensationalized. It wasn't put out on Twitter
Right.
and
That's the thing though, is
encouraged. Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's a different landscape with social media and with so much you just can have access to information that you just shouldn't, to be honest. Like if somebody has, their life and somebody makes those decisions for themselves, it's tough that you see it all over socials. It
Yeah,
is.
I do a whole presentation. It's an hour long. I'm very conservative with it. I have parents, question me all the time. Well, we want to post a picture of the camp. And I'm like, why? Why does a camp photo help you? What does
Mm,
it do? It actually hurts you from a strategic marketing perspective. And I had
yeah.
it just happen, yesterday. I said, but what if that other school you're waiting for comes and says, why is she at that camp?
Right. Yeah.
So
It's
we
like
don't need,
what
you're
makes
not
people
getting more
what's
interest. Like
funny.
football's different.
Well, it's funny because, like, when I see that, I'm like, what, imagine if you're dating. Like, that's essentially what the portal is, right? Like, imagine if you're dating and you're posting every single date on Instagram that you go on, and you're posting every single guy, and you're telling everybody what you did. You're
Yeah,
doing
I
it like
I feel
week
you.
after week after week. These guys are going to stop talking to
Well,
you.
there was a travel ball coach that actually put up there. Could you imagine if the college coaches tagged just the girls that they were recruiting? So why are the kids tagging college coaches? Just send it to them. Let's go old fashioned. Text it to them, DM it.
I think there's a good balance of everything is the best way to go.
Yes,
So just
yes.
balanced.
And character. I mean, I'm up on those chat boards on Facebook a lot, and I just think we've lost the character. There's one up there with an alcohol smelling umpire. Well, the parents are drinking, the coaches come in the dugout drinking and talking. I mean, it's just not okay, and I think we've lost sight of that. And it's my generation. We're proud to be Karens. I'm a Karen. Ask Nick. He had to tell me what a Karen was, but Nick's listening here. But I think it's okay to step up and say, hey, what are we doing? Can we
Mhm.
be better mentors? Can we be better leaders? Because, like you said, Lauren, you grew up in this sport. You grew up with Patty Gasso as your leader. That's probably the most important decision when choosing a school is who is going to lead your children through adulthood.
Oh yeah, it's that you're leaving your parents and you're heading into the most important, I think, 4 years of your life. So
Let
it's a big decision.
and let's make this the last question, unless anybody has something from the audience. What do you think the number one most important lesson that Patty Gasso taught you?
Mm. I think oh man, she's taught me so many. She's taught me so many. I would say the biggest lesson that she taught me, and she showed me, she didn't just teach me this, she showed me through her actions, is that whatever, you put your mind to and whatever you have going for you, and if you want something done, if you act and speak and walk and talk like you already have it, or if you command your room that you walk into and you just there's just no BS here, no room for mess, like I'm here to get the job done. She was just always so professional and headstrong, and she was just this, and not everybody liked it, and it's so funny because when it's a woman not everybody likes it, but when it's a man it's like that's awesome. But when coach did it, it was, I don't know that everybody loved it, but she got it done. Like she did what she needed to do. And her doing that and showing me that, not just telling me to be a woman and telling me to get what's mine and take what's mine and own the room and command the room and walk and talk like this. I mean, she showed me just about every day I was there. So I think that along with so many other things, She truly embodied what she was teaching us, and that's the most important. And I think the quickest way to teach people is like, this is what I'm doing. I'm showing you. So take note. She was awesome at that.
Awesome. And I would love to remind you guys to make sure you friend Collegiate Sports Advocate Jackie and Lauren here. And then also, we're going to stick to our Monday nights. Somebody said they like 8 o'clock better, so I'm all good with that. Next week, we'll come back and do the update on all the commitments. They're going crazy. They're here. It's happening. And Lauren, I would like you to finish by telling us all about your program again and tell us who you're inviting and how we can all share and help you get the audience that you deserve at your next event.
Yes, thanks so much, Sherry. Legends in the making. This is just such an awesome night of empowerment, inspiration, storytelling, community. I think it's important when a lot of people come into one room and you can really feel the magic in person. I know we've missed that over the last couple of years. So to get everybody together and really celebrate, who we are as people, as athletes, and I think figuring out who you are and who you're supposed to be and what your superpowers are can really transform your life, not only on the field but off. But outside of Legends in the Making, there's so many things that LC Management Group has going on. Huge events repping the best of the best in softball, so there's always something happening there. So if you guys check out lcmanagementgroup.com, follow us on socials, LC Management Group, you'll see what's going on. You'll see me around.
And I'm going to insert real quick because your bestie just showed up. I'm sure she was putting a baby to bed, but Shannon, do you want to say hi?
Oh, Shannon. Yes.
Yeah, I think she has to request to be a speaker, but
Oh,
we'll let her do
while,
that.
while you're
We can let you speak, but she's probably going, Mom, stop.
no, Shannon, if you can hear me, we spoke about first ever first ever time I picked up a softball. It's always a fun story to tell that you were my first person playing catch. So I love that.
Yeah,
So
great,
special.
great times. So, Jackie, would you like to say any closing words and thank the audience? And then we'll be back next week.
Absolutely. So first off, Lauren, absolutely an honor to have you on the show here tonight. Definitely was one of my goals to meet and talk to you. So I'm glad from my end, it's been an awesome journey to see you grow from being in the Sooner uniform to being a supporter and watching you invest in women's sports and to see this as your next step is just awesome, even from a fan perspective. So super proud of what you're doing. And I know Sooner Nation is as well. But everyone, thank you so much for being here today. If you are an athlete that is in the audience or is listening to the recap of this later, and this moves you, look at Lauren's next step, look at Legends in the Making, and take that opportunity to sign up, to go to it, learn something new, and embrace that process because you can learn so much from it.
Fabulous. And we do record this if you all will shoot it out as soon as we close it down and hit it to your audience and tell them about what a wonderful opportunity Lauren's got coming. And Lauren, I am just always grateful. And look, I'll get all choked up. Pleased that I ever got to be your coach. It was an absolute honor, and to be your friend and to be a friend of the family and travel in your little Danny and Shelly drove in the back of our road trick 190
Oh my
forever.
gosh. No, so many fun memories, Sherry. Thank you so much. And it's fun to, circle back and do this. We got to do this more often. But Jackie, thank you
Absolutely.
for the words too. It's been fun to grow alongside a lot of you. I mean, it's been over a decade since I, put the OU uniform for the first time. Well, when I started coming from high school, and I guess a decade of signing too. It's just crazy to think about all that stuff. It's like, man, there's a, 10 years ago we won the national championship. I mean, 2023. No, that was in 2013. I mean, it just blows my mind. So
And
you guys,
Ed made it note. It was 20 years ago you won 10 and under nationals.
no, that's sick. That's too much. That's
Should we
too much.
end on that one?
I'm like, just stop it. No more dating. No more dating. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome, everybody. Thank you for joining. Have a good night, and we'll see you next Monday. Thanks,
All right,
Lauren.
guys. Thank
Good
you.
night.